So you guys were I'm hearing all you guys wanted a theme song short, so here we go. This girl reviews movies, games, and books. Sometimes she plays them. So does that, and when she does it with the cat, does that make her crazy? Does that make her crazy? Probably. So, it's shorter. There you go. CrazyCatLady or Martha Butler does not own any trailers or pictures. I use them under fair educational for and entertainment purpose. It's like it's all they did. Well, those years ago. See? No, I don't want to do any more of it.
Alright, this took me a while to do. It took me about a couple hours. But I don't know how long this video is going to take me to do, because I haven't done a video like this ever. So, I'm doing this, I'm making I made a Disney Iceberg. What is an iceberg? Well, it's like basically a big information that you can learn about any topic. Now, since I love Disney, I picked to do Disney. If you want to correct me about any of my topics or make me add another topic, let me know. And let me know if you want me to do another iceberg or other stuff. Because this took me a couple hours. This took me probably 2 hours to do, though. I know other people have not done the research for it yet. So it's not all the way finished. So yeah. So the surface, the sky is usually what most people know. Then further down you go, the less people know, and some of the topics are sensitive stuff, and you make sure to put that down at the bottom. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 layers, because that's the picture I could find when I was looking up online to find pictures for icebergs. And I put down layers, and 8 was the one that came up. So I had to think of bunch of topics. Each of them have 5 each layers has 5 topics that I'm going to talk about. So let's get started. Let's talk about layer 1. So we got Mickey Mouse, which is the mascot of Disney. He was made in 1928. He has probably the most cartoons out there. Stuff like that. Minnie Mouse. Basically the same. Basically the female equivalent of Mickey Mouse. She's made the exact short. Crazy Planes is not. Steamboat Willie was their first short together. She has a cat named Figaro. I should add Figaro on here. So yeah. Goofy. Goofy is... We don't know what Goofy is. That's not our point. His voice actor, Bill Farmer, has said he is a goofaless. Not a cow, not a dog. He's his own species. That's what his voice actor has said. He was made back in 1932. Donald Duck. It recently has been his 90th birthday. And he was made back in 1934. And he's one of the most... Oh, he's always angry. And because he can never have a good day. Walt Disney. Walt Disney is the creator of Disney, and he has made a lot of good movies. And he was born in 1901. Yeah, 1901. So that's layer 1. Now on to layer 2. Scrooge McDuck was made in Scrooge was made back in 1947, but he didn't appear in his first short in 1967. He has been in DuckTales. Most people know him for his DuckTales stuff. Mostly, I think he was made mostly to teach people about math, and he doesn't have many of his own shorts. I did a couple of reviews of his shorts, but he doesn't have that many beside the ones in DuckTales, so that's why I don't do that many of him anymore. So yeah. Next one, we got Ludwig von Drake, who is Donald's other uncle, besides Scrooge, that was made during for the television to teach kids about colors and stuff like that. He was meant to be only a one-time person, only one time showing in on there, but people loved him so much that they used him regularly, and I really wish they would use him more regularly because he's one of my favorite characters. So yeah, Clarabelle Cow. So Clarabelle is one of the characters that was made for Goofy and Donald. That was mostly one of the few characters that can be both anthropomorphic and actually an actual animal, because basically every time you see a cow in one of Disney shorts is Clarabelle. And she is basically Minnie's best friend before Daisy came along. So yeah. Pluto. Pluto is Mickey's dog, who was named after the planet at the time because he was made during 1930 back when Pluto was discovered. So yeah, and that's all I have to say about him. Daisy Duck. She is Donald Duck's girlfriend, and mostly she's now Minnie's new best friend. So yeah, and she was one of the last of the 6 that was made. There is no black and white version of her, while the other ones do have one. Now we're on to layer 3. Chip and Dale. Chip and Dale are chipmunks that mostly are made there to have good Donald have bad days. A lot of times you cannot understand because how fast they talk, and they used to have their own TV show called Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers that was made into a movie. The show is a lot better, but yeah. Huey, Dewey, and Louie, which are Donald Duck's nephews, who are also just like Chip and Dale, who also give him a hard time. And sometimes there is a 4th nephew that wears yellow. That's called, I think, Huey. Pewee. It's spelled Phooe. Pewee. We don't talk about him, but mostly she was Dewey and Louie. The nine old men. The 9 old men are one of Disney's the men that have stayed with Disney for the whole entire most of their lives. Lance Clance, Mark Davis, Roy Johnson, Mick. Okay, I'm gonna try to pronounce some of these names. Milk Call, Ozzy Johnson, Ward Campbell, Eric Lexon, John Loganberry, Wolfgang, John, Frank Thompson. So I'm going to say that one, Wolfgang Rotherman. So each one of these animators have done like a bunch of things for, like, I think Mark Davis worked on a bunch of rides at Disneyland. Wolfgang Rotherman directed a lot of Disney's movies. Ollie and Frank end up doing mostly animators, and not all, like, some of them do end up leaving eventually, but most of them, like, the latest that we see these guys work is Rotherman and Frank and Ollie being there until Fox and the Hound. So yeah. So that's what the 9 old men are. So let's get on to the next one. Pete. Pete is one of Disney's first villains, and is mostly technically older than Oswald and Mickey, because he has been a villain to Alice, and not the Alice in Wonderland that you know from the 1952 movie. Alice from 1925, because when Walt was making his first shorts back in 1925, he made a bear who would chase Alice around, and Alice was a live action was a girl who was made into who was put in the shorts, was actually still a real girl, but everybody else around her was animated. Later on, when Oswald came around, Pete was turned into a dog, And then when Mickey came around, Pete was turned into a cat, and that's where it ended. So he has done, and he's stayed around most of the time, and he's been a great villain for everybody to have. All the for everything. Horse collar. He is mostly Mickey's Mouse's horse most of the time, and he competes with Goofy, who's dating Clarabelle, and he is one of the forgotten Disney characters out there. So that is layer 3. Now on to layer 4. Max Goofy. Max is Goofy's son, who was made in the 90s, but you can also say that he has another. This might be Max, might not be Goofy Jr., and mostly Goofy was Max was made for the extreme parts, and Goofy Jr. was made back during the 50s, which we'll touch on during that time later on. So that's basically it. And not many people talk about Max anymore because he was mostly popular during the 90s. They sometimes talk about him, but it's not as much as they used to. That's why he's down so low. So we got Pago Pisto, who is one of the 3 Caballeros of, and also we got Joe Case Carey. Okay, now the reason why I have these two separate is because they were both made at different time periods. Pisto was made for 3 Caballeros. Joe K was made for that for a movie when Disney went to South America, and that's when they made Joe K's Karaoke. The movie, I don't remember the name. So Joe K's Karaoke showed up in Saludos Amigos the first time. That's the one he showed up in the first time. Okay. Just had to remind myself the name of it, which I already did a review on, and I just forgot the name of the movie. Okay, so next topic, since I covered both those ones the same exact time, we got Yen Sid. Now, if you watch the movie Fantasia, you see Mickey messing with an old man and taking away his hat. That character's name is Yen Sid, which is Disney spelled backwards, and he is basically Walt Disney's Walt Disney putting himself into his role. People usually confuse this guy with Merlin because their outfits are very similar. I don't blame them. So yeah. And he mostly has shown up in Epic Mickey, Kingdom Hearts, and mostly when Mickey is doing his mischief stages, and mostly it's Mickey stealing something from him. Then Mickey getting over his head, and that's why Yen Sid is here. So yeah. I really wish they could have used him in Once Upon a Time, but they didn't. So yeah. Okay. Mortimer Mouse is the next one. Okay, Mortimer was Mickey's first name, but Lillian, who we're going to talk about later, Disney's wife, decided that name does not suit Mickey, so she decided to give him the name Mickey. Now, Mortimer has been used as different names for other characters, but the one I'm talking about here is the one that is Minnie's ex-boyfriend, and that one that goes cha-cha-cha a lot, and he was in the short where he was let me see, what's that short came out? Okay, Mortimer was made back in 1936 with the one that's called Mickey's Rival. So yeah. And basically now they mostly use him as another villain for that Mickey has to compete with, like Pete. So yeah. And now on to layer 5, and this is basically time. So we're still on to good news. None of the bad stuff, so this less known stuff. So we got movie ages or movie eras that you can call. So each couple decades they have movies get called something. Like basically we had the Golden Age, we had the Silver Age, we had the Bronze Age, or the Dark Age. We have the Wartime Era. We got the Renaissance Era. The post-Renaissance era, or the Second Dark Age. And so, okay. So there's the Golden Era. The Golden Era, that lasts from 1937 to 1942. And that has... And then we had the Wartime Era, which lasts into 1943 to 1949. Then we have the Silver Era that lasts to 1950 to 1967. And then we had the Bronze/Dark Era that lasts to 1970 to 1988. Then we have the Renaissance Era, which is from 1989 to 1999. Post-Renaissance Era, which is between 2007. The Revival Era, which is lasted 2008 2017. And the era that we are on now, which is started in 2018. Now, I don't have any pictures that have all the movies on right now. Unless I make another one like this. But yeah, and this was mostly for the animation stuff. I don't know if like the live action movies have one, and I mean not just the ones that were originally animated. I mean all the ones that were not animated. I don't know what era those are. Let me know if you have names for those movies. So yeah, Oswald Lucky Rabbit was made the year before Mickey, and Mickey and Walt cannot use him after that because he was owned by Universal, and Walt didn't own the rights to him up in 2006 when they decided to do Epic Mickey. Charles Muntz, who was the boss of Walt Disney during this time period, wanted to have all the animators join him and join Universal for really cheap, and Walt did not want to do that. He wanted to leave. He wanted more money, so he wanted Walt to sign a contract that made him where he would work for Universal, but for a cheaper price, and Walt said no. And then, since he made Oswald under Universal, he was not allowed to take him with him. So yeah. And then that's how he came on the way home. He came with the idea for Mickey. And I do like the fact that they're using Oswald more often. We got Claire Klutz chicken, which is a chicken that is not very used very much at Disney. So I brought up here. Most people forget about her. So yeah, she was made in 34, so she's pretty much the same age as Donald. But Donald's is used more often. So it's also her 90th birthday. 90th birthday year, so yeah. Why is nobody celebrating her 90th birthday? Because not many people know about her. So there you go. The two Roys. Now the reason I say the two Roys, because Walt has two different Roys that he's related to. We got his brother, Roy Disney, and we got his nephew, Roy E. Disney. The first Roy's brother, was basically Walt's bankman and moneyman, the one who helped make decisions, stuff like that. Roy was the second person, kind of the third, who took over after Walt Disney died. We have Walt Disney's brother, Walt Disney's son-in-law, who took over for a while. Ron W. Miller, who ends up marrying his first daughter, Diana Disney. And she took over for a while, up until, I think, Black Cauldron. Then Michael Eisner, Jeffrey Katzenberg, Frank Wells and Roy Disney took over after that. Because apparently Ron made a lot of bad decisions. So yeah. And for a while, Roy was in charge after Walt died, and I think you could say in a way, Wolfgang Reitherman was in charge for a little while. So yeah, who knows which number actually Roy Disney was in charge of Disney. So yeah, so that's that answer. Mickey's nephews. Just like Donald, Mickey has nephews. And there's two of them. There is Morty and 40 Mil. So those are the ones that are his nephews. They don't use them as Huey, Dewey, and Louie. And I think they mean use them less than I could have put them in here. Then April, June, and May. Daisy's nieces. So yeah, mostly they use them in comics, and they used to use them back in the olden days. So yeah. Now on to layer 6, Figment. Figment is a dragon that was made for Disney, and for basically like a child equivalent when they made that ride Magic Figment Imagination. So I'd never ridden this ride, still haven't got on it. So, and basically he's just made for the parks, and he was supposed to get his own Journey to Imagination. That's the name of the ride. So he was supposed to get his own TV show back during the 80s, but he never did. So yeah, we got Disney Afternoon, which is back during the 90s. They made they had made a bunch of TV shows back when they were doing the Disney Channel. Like for example, some of them were the Gummy Bears, DuckTales, Tailspin, and Chip and Dale Rex Rangers, and many more. So yeah, basically it was a time slot where kids can go home and watch cartoons, basically, and stuff like that. That was mostly during the 90s and 80s and the early 2000s. So yeah, Iwerks was one of the animators that worked at Disney, and he also was the co-creator of Mickey Mouse. So yeah, and then we have Lillian Disney, who was Walt Disney's wife, and she, when he came up with Mickey's name, she also was one of the ink department ladies that worked there, who helped put on ink for a lot of the characters, basically. And then she ends up marrying Walt, and they live happy ever after, have 2 daughters, and yeah. So, you know. Okay, Julian. Julian was technically Walt's first character. He was a copycat of Figaro, and not Figaro, of Felix the Cat. Back then, back when they made Julian and Felix, they looked the same. Now, and this is back during the black and white era, and the reason why they were kind of getting away with it because everything was black and white, so a cat had to be black, basically. So yeah, that's what and he was made back in 1922, and back in Disney's first short was a Red Riding Hood short. So yeah, so that's it for layer. So on to layer 7. No moms. Now, in a lot of Disney movies, most of the Disney characters don't have moms.
Who would do that? Have you ever had true love's kiss? Ew, barf! Do you have daddy issues? I don't even have a mom. Neither do we!
Now, most of the reasons why is because these are fairy tales, and a lot of the fairy tales and the books don't have moms in the books. But there's also a dumb theory where his mom that when Walt Disney made Snow White, he bought his mom and dad a house that caught on fire, and his mom died in it, and that's why a lot of people don't think that there's a lot of moms. But most of the thing is, I think most of their movies has to do with the fact that a coming of age to for the character, and they kind of corrected it most of the time now, because most of the movies now do have both parents in the movies. But even back when I was a kid, they still had no parents for, like, no moms for most of the parents. Like, I can name countless of them, but that's what that one's for. And we also got the couple of more Disney characters. We got the Blot, who was a character mostly for the Shadow Blot, I guess you can call it. That was made. Okay, Phantom Blot. I need to change that one. Okay. So Phantom Blot was made back in 1939. Like I said, it's mostly a comics character that the first comic that appeared in was these two, either this one or that one. So I'm gonna put both of them on there. The Case of the Disappearing Diamond, or Mickey Mouse Outwits the Black Blot. So yeah, Outwits the Phantom Blot. So I got a number to change that one to Phantom Blot. So yeah, the next one. Walt Disney is not frozen. He ain't. There is a grave in California. So basically, Walt's not buried there. He was cremated, and his ashes are poured there. I will go there one day and take a picture of it if I have to. But there's a stupid theory going around that he got frozen because he was a futuristic guy, and people think that he would always want to come back. So the fact that they have a frickin' he actually has a grave, and people still think that he's frozen. So that's what that one's referring to. And I'm talking about it because I'm sick and tired of hearing people saying, he's frozen! He ain't! So yeah. Mad Doctor, which is another one of Disney's villains that is made for one of Pluto's cartoons. It's called Mad Doctor, and that was made back in 1933. That also was one of the first scary cartoons out there, you could think. So basically, and he's also the villain in the second Epic Mickey game. George, which was another name for Goofy, that was made back in for the 1950s, when they're still trying to figure out what was Goofy's personality, and back when he was basically man, and so is this another name for Goofy? Alright, on to the layer that most people don't like to talk about, layer. So yeah, which is layer 8, and let's start with that. We got the deaths in the park's deaths, and that is basically that there's been a couple of deaths in both all the parks, in which is kind of, you can't go without these many years at Disney without having deaths. And they're pretty like, some people were being stupid and standing up middle of the rides and falling off and stuff like that. And one was working behind the sound system and sadly got smashed. That's a lot, and some of them are fake. I remember hearing people talk about one for the Small World After All ride, and that one's fake. That one's not real. But so yeah, that's mostly me. I'm not gonna name any of the names of the people who died there, but go and look it up and you'll find out that, man, hard to beat out this long and have that many deaths. Copyright. So the reason why I have this here is because the fact that a couple of Disney's characters have gone, are now old enough to where they can have, when their copyright, thing has been released and are now power poked to them. So, like, for example, we have Winnie the Pooh and Mickey, and later on we'll have all the characters. And now they have all those stupid horror versions of them, like, of Winnie the Pooh. And now later on they're going to make a horror movie of Mickey. Now, Disney's not doing this. A lesser known company's doing this, and they're not the ones who made Winnie the Pooh. A. Mills did. So it's that version of Winnie the Pooh that's a public domain. While Disney's Winnie the Pooh is still part of owned by Disney. So yeah. And Song of the South, which was mostly what the movie that most Disney wants you to forget, so much so that they're no longer letting Splash Mountain be in the ride. And most people, I'm guessing, now don't like that new ride that is now based off of Princess and the Frog. Haven't been on it yet because they're still not letting civilians be on it yet, as far as I know. This is in Disney World, and I'm not going to judge that ride until I go on it. But I know that they have not put Dr. Facilier in the new ride. And the reason why that they redid the ride and made everybody not like it, mostly try to bury this movie. They don't even put it on Disney Plus. They had not made a DVD version of it ever, and they had not made a VHS of it since the 80s. So it's because people consider it racist and wrong to of the times. Now the thing is, I can see their point, but I think that it's mostly this movie's boring. I think they should allow them to at least allow people to see the animated part of it, like see Brer Rabbit and Bear Fox. Have them see those characters at least, because those are the ones that most people want them to remember. Because just like The Sword and the Stone, these are folk tales for the Afro-Americans. So yeah, it's like they're trying to make sure these characters are being forgotten, but they're not. It shouldn't be. So that's why this movie's down so low. Yeah, and so on to the next topic. Disney Mickey and Minnie sex tape. Now this is a story that might have not happened or not. It was Walt Disney's birthday basically, and Roy, his brother, told his animators to make a tape that shows Mickey and Minnie doing the deed. Walt watched it and asked who did this, and the people raised their hands, and those people got fired, and then Walt destroyed it. Now that's why it's just an old story that people don't know happened or not, because there's literally no proof of it, because the tape was probably destroyed, and now we have no wonder if it actually happened or not. So yeah. Now the last topic I'm going to talk about today is child stars. A lot of Disney child stars have had sad endings, like the kid who played Peter Pan. They found his body a couple years after he died, and it was buried in a blank spot, and because he died of an overdose and stuff like that. And the kid who played Michael and Mary Poppins died young when he was 21. Even nowadays, Disney's stars have bad histories, but basically most of Disney's child stars have had bad endings in their lives and stuff like that, and have problems, and people think it's a curse. Now I think not all of it's Disney's fault. Some of it is, but it's just really hard to deal with that kind of stuff. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know if I did anything, if I had any miscorrections. Just be polite about it. But this is me doing my iceberg, my very first iceberg, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know if you want me to make another one with way more stuff, and hopefully I can come with more topics next time. Hope you guys enjoyed this. So I'll see, and hopefully you guys are okay with where I had everybody all the points on here. So yeah, so I'll see you guys later. Like, favorite, and subscribe, and bye bye.